Hi everyone, my name is Touseef. I work for Agoric as a software engineer, and Agoric is a L1 blockchain smart contract built on top of Cosmos. It enables you to write smart contracts using JavaScript, using all the tools you have used in building Web2 applications. Now you can use them to build your smart contracts as well. It has a unique architecture allowing asynchronous programming and multi-block execution. So today I'm going to talk about Instagoric, a project we have built internally to help us launch new networks with ease. Those networks can be testnets, follower networks, or dedicated chain clouds that enable you to quickly launch new testnet and then test your things on it. There are lots of recipes we have added into this tool that enables us to create different configurations, but it's extensible and also configurable to add your own custom changes and build your own custom testnet. It has all the batteries included, all the like DNS ingress, load balancer, explorer, dashboard, faucet, all these things are included. So you just run one command and you have everything running up and running for you to start testing your application, or give it this testnet to your partner so that they can start application. It provides a unique, consistent view for users so that they know what they're going to expect when they launch a new testnet using Instagoric. So this is the view you get, consistent view when you launch a testnet using Instagoric. You get all the API endpoints and Explorer and Faucet API endpoints, and so you can, and chain ID, so you know what you are getting into. We have a very good integration with Datadog, so whenever we launch a new network, we don't need to do anything. All the metrics of that testnet are going into Datadog, not just Tendermint or Cosmos. We are getting virtual machine over kernel metrics, smart contract metrics, and cluster metrics coming in here so that our developers can have a good transparency on what is going on in the network. We are using gcloud to deploy our networks, but if you clone this repo, and you can use AWS or any other public cloud. We are heavily using Kubernetes. So when I joined this team, I said, okay, Kubernetes seems like an overkill for this, and if you are in Web 2, you might have heard of a meme going around nowadays about Kubernetes. But when I started working on it, I felt like this is the best use case for Kubernetes. Is provide us the right amount of customization and extensibility that we need in building all the testnets and all the networks we have built. We use a Customize on top of it. Customize is a framework that enables us to manage and configure different deployments of different networks. So, and this is, I will go further more on this Customize a little later. We use JavaScript, Bash, and Datadog integration. So let's talk about the Customize. Customize enables us to create a lot of configurations for different kind of networks with ease. It is declarative, like you know what you're getting when you look at it. So as a new developer, you don't have to go around finding templates and where these values coming from. You have this mechanism where you Customize says that you build different components which are called bases, and in bases you define, for example, a validator, how the validator will be, and fork node or explorer node, and then you have overlays. Overlays define your production network. So in your overlay you include your bases, and then you change whatever you want to change in that specific by patching that value. So example is here. You have here I'm showing the overlay testnet, in which we have included shared validator, seed, and explorer, and we just want the validator to have 3 validators in it. So very easy that you can customize with these mechanisms. The architecture is that we are using one gcloud cluster to host all of our testnets. Previously, we used to create a separate cluster for each testnet, but this was very slow because when you want to create a new cluster, it will go and provision those resources. Then recently, we moved to this new architecture where we are encapsulating our testnet inside one namespace. So we have one namespace for Datadog, one to send our metrics, one namespace for ingress to bring the public access, and then for each network we have a separate namespace. So this is an example testnet showing that there are four nodes, or four services running. One of them is block server, seed, primary validator, and one validator might have these processes, which is like a one chain process, then dashboard, faucet, and agents. And you can replicate these, and you can create multiple validators if you need. This is based on a typical testnet, but you could have a testnet which only has one block explorer and one validator, and you might not need other things in it. So we'll talk about some use cases, and then we're also going to have a demo showing how it works. So when in one of the features we wanted to, our kernel team wanted to test some new feature, and the best way to test is in production or in mainnet, right? But we wanted to be a little safe, so we said, okay, why not we create a fork of mainnet and then test our things on it. So forking our mainnet was a whole separate project, but when we had that fork image created, launching it in Instagoric was very quick and easy for us, and now we can have multiple instances of that fork created in our network for different testing purposes. Recently, DevRel team came to us that some of the developers in developing countries are complaining that their machines are not heavy or beefy enough to run our local chain. So what can we do about it? And I said, okay, we can do something. We can have chains instead of running in their machine. Why not we run them in our cloud? So this is the project I did last week, where we can now with one command launch a new chain for a developer in our infrastructure, which is like an overlay which only has one container for the chain and one container for Explorer. This is good because I think it will increase the developer experience a lot, because in the local, when you are running locally, you don't have like if you want to run Explorer, then you have to run another process and so on. But when we have this thing running in our cloud, we can increase the user experience a lot by adding bells and whistles that can increase their experience. So here is an example of some testnets I was trying. Raf has his own testnet, and he will get his own dedicated page where he knows that what are the endpoints he can hit. And Ivan has his own testnet or chain that is running for him with the endpoints pointing to. And one thing we have added in it that or removed from it is that we are not integrated. We removed the integration of Datadog, because we don't want individual chains running and their Datadog metrics coming to our Datadog cluster. Another use case is that we wanted to see what is happening in the mainnet. So running followers was another project. We are running them in this cluster, and followers are sending us metrics in our Datadog, so we can see what is happening in our cluster mainnet. So let's look at the demo now. In this demo, we will launch a new cluster in a few minutes. This cluster is going to this testnet will be called SunnyNet. SunnyNet will be the best network out there to run test your apps. This will take around 10 minutes. So I have recorded this video so to save your time from watching pods being created one by one. So we will move to this other. So I have removed where the chunks where we are running something, waiting for something. But other than that, it's just one command I am. So this screen shows that we cannot, when we try to hit sunnynet.agoric.net, we are getting this page not found. And we will see that it will be live in a few minutes. So let's run it. So in this, you see the command, the first command, it says that use a configuration called testnet. Testnet is a cluster configuration or overlay we have in our code base, and the SunnyNet is the namespace that we will be choosing. So SunnyNet will be used everywhere for DNS and everywhere else. So let's see what will happen. So now there will be some magic that Kubernetes will do. It will launch few pods. It will configure ingress. And we have all our pods launched, and now they are going to be created at the bottom. Ingress DNS records are being added, and we are waiting for our pods to get, all of them to get running. And yes, we have everything, and now we can go to SunnyNet. It will show our testnet running. We can test now, look at the different API points that they are working. We'll look at the faucet. The faucet is working as well, and then we'll check the Explorer if the Explorer is also working or not. Awesome. So we have Explorer now. We can look at the blocks. Yes, blocks are coming. There are 4 validators. Awesome. So this is the demo I wanted to show, and future work is that we want to add some. One problem I had was that when the disk goes low, we get our pod starts to fail, but it's sometimes become hard to find out what is really going on. So if we want to add a disk low alert and then expand the disk on based on that. Another thing I will be working on is to scale down our infrastructure or shut it down completely if nobody is using it, if there are no transactions, because now we made it easy for people to launch it, and they will launch it and then forget about it, but we want to save some money as well. If you want to use this to launch your own validator and you are starting a new validator business, you can use this, but one thing that you have to ask is that currently we are there is no protection against the denial of service attack. Cosmos team has recommended to use Sentry node architecture. That is a work that we need to add into this, so to make it productionized for your validator if you want to run a validator business. That's all. This work was done by Ari, Michael, Raphael, and myself. And thank you. This is my handle for Twitter and LinkedIn, and I'm open for questions.
I guess I can start with how much of this is like Agoric specific, and how could this be adapted to other chains?
It is only using Agoric specific, the CLI, Agoric CLI. So you can use your own SIMD or GaiaD and replace that. So that can be generalized in that sense. Other than that, we are not using any Agoric tech in it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.